Hello again, everybody. Welcome to another installment of the Pug's Thoughts in the Doghouse. I'm Pug, and here's what I'm thinking. Okay, before we start, if I have anything that's incorrect or you know some information that I don't know or I don't present, please feel free to comment below. Link your source. That would be appreciated. And we'll go from there because I have a gist of this situation, but I'm pretty sure there are some things that I'm kind of shaking on because I live on the West Coast. The team that I'm going to talk about is on the East Coast, so they're not necessarily in the Seattle news. So once again, if I'm incorrect, put it below. Okay, I'm going to talk about a team that I root for that I don't like talking about at all because they are flat out terrible, and they are the New York Islanders. You might say, how in the world did I become a New York Islander fan when I live on the East Coast and I got the Vancouver Canucks about 3 to 4 hours north of me? Well, I have family on Long Island, and since Seattle does not have a NHL team, I became a fan of the Seattle Thunderbirds and a fan of the Western Hockey League growing up. And the Islanders play on Long Island, as I'm sure you're aware of, and I have family on Long Island. You still got to drive a ways in order to get there, but I do have family on Long Island, and the Islanders were the first NHL team I ever saw growing up. I became a fan of them in 2000, and has followed the team and as much as possible and ever since then. I've experienced a couple playoff runs. Obviously, the most memorable one from since 2000 would probably be the 2002 run when we lost to the when we lost to the Toronto Maple Leafs in 7 games when we had Michael Pekka, former Seattle Thunderbird Chris Osgood. That was awesome. And Alexei Yashin, Sean Bates, and this guy named Johnson. I think his name is Kenny Johnson, but I could be incorrect about that. But anyway, so yeah, this is we're gonna talk about them. And last week, Rick DiPietro, our high draft goaltender, got punched and was knocked out, and I was injured against the Pittsburgh Penguins. And it's not it's not the hit that bothers me. It's not the fact that Rick DiPietro got hit on the road against the Pittsburgh Penguins. That doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me that that doesn't surprise me because I think Rick DiPietro is a worthless goaltender. But right now, that doesn't bother me. What bothers me is I think that hit pretty much shows what the New York Islanders are. They are a dismal organization right now. They cannot get anything right on the ice. They've got Rick DiPietro for 15 years. He's in the middle of a 15-year contract, and what has he done? Jack squat. So there's a lot of issues with this team, and I'm calling it right now. I really am. The Islanders are supposed to play in Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum until 2015. That's when their lease is up. Their owner, Charles Wang, has been trying to get a new arena for years. And I honestly think if they can't get an arena of any deal at this point, I would not be surprised if this team moves. Which would be very sad. But we'll go into that a little bit later. But there's been talks about rebuilding the arena with something called the Lighthouse Project, which I've heard is no longer going to happen. Basically, it would be kind of this utopia around the arena, and that apparently got shut down or is stalled or is still being worked on. I'm pretty sure it's not going to happen though. There's been talks that they would move next to the New York Mets Stadium, Citi Field. They would get a new arena there. There's also been talks that the Islanders would move to Brooklyn and would share an arena with an NBA team, which are all good solutions. I don't mind the Islanders moving as long as they stay in the vicinity of New York. Even if they were to move, I don't know, near Buffalo. I don't know. I would prefer them to stay in New York and keep playing as the New York Islanders instead of moving. But I don't know if that's going to happen at this point because the owner keeps. I mean, you can say the owner is being stubborn and not taking any pay cuts, or you can say You can say that the owner is just being greedy and wants taxpayers to pay for his money. You can say what you want about the owner. You can say what you want about the communities. Bottom line is that if the Islanders don't get this done, I can see this team moving. And it would be very sad for this team to move. They have a lot of history on Long Island. I believe they are still the only American team, and when I say American team, I mean a team from the U.S., to win 4 Stanley Cups in a row in NHL. They also are one of the 3 teams in National Hockey League history to come back from a 0-3 deficit in the playoffs. They have a pile of retired numbers like Mike Bossy and Potvin. They have a pile of banners. If you ever go to an Islanders game, they got a pile of banners. So there's a lot of rich history with this organization. And, people even in New York say, this is a historic organization with all the stuff that they've done. Problem is right now they're not drawing. I've been to 2 Islander games. The first one, I was more just kind of excited to be at an NHL game because it was my first NHL game. Second game I went to, I realized Nassau Coliseum's problems. Their problems with the arena, I like to call it the key arena of the NHL. Great for the average fan. It does hold hockey. It also holds arena football. I believe the New York Dragons play there. But there's not enough concourse space in this arena to sell merchandise and open restaurants and it's not good enough. It has a similar setup to Seattle's Key Arena, and that definitely played a role in when the Sonics left. So as much as I like Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum, it's not a good one. I'm sorry, and it's unfortunate to say because that was the first arena I ever went in. So the Islanders, I mean, you got to get something by 2015. If you don't, I'm throwing in the towel right now. They will move. I've heard that Kansas City is a possibility. I've heard Oklahoma City is a possibility, and that would be weird for me, being a Seattle fan, if you remember what happened with the Sonics. So that's pretty much what I got for the state of the Islanders. It's unfortunate, but frankly, at this point, they got only a couple more years to get this stadium deal done. If they can't get done, I do see this team moving. So, and the sad thing is they have to get this stadium, and they have to put people in the seats before they can actually start spending money and putting a decent product on the ice, because they just aren't drawing the crowds. They're not bringing in the dough, and they're losing money. They're spending more time with this arena deal. So go Islanders, as hard as that is right now. We'll talk to you all later. And once again, if I have had if I said anything that's incorrect, please put it below. Please, if it is correct and you have a source, please put the link below as well. So thank you very much for watching, and go Islanders. Beat the Rangers if you can. Talk to you all later.